Hi friends and welcome to Crumbz from Gerard. Today I would like to speak to you about the protection under the Holy Cloak of Saint Joseph. When we look down the centuries, we see very many holy men and women had a special devotion to Saint Joseph. Saint Teresa of Avila had this tremendous devotion to Saint Joseph, and she took him as an intercessor and advocate. And she says that whenever she turned to him for any need, she always found that her favor was granted. And because of her own experience, she suggested to many of her sisters and others to turn to Saint Joseph for any need that you have. Now, where does this kind of devotion to Saint Joseph come from? Obviously, from the Gospels. Saint Joseph was the father of Jesus. Pope Francis wrote his apostolic letter last year as he began the year of Saint Joseph. And this is what he has to say right at the beginning of the letter. With a father's heart, that is how Joseph loved Jesus, whom all four Gospels refer to as the son of Joseph. Jesus was the son of Joseph. Joseph was the father of Jesus. And that's what we see in the Gospel, and that's what we know of him. One who took this tremendous amount of care of Jesus. He was truly his protector and guide, truly his father. As we know, in the Bible is mentioned again and again that Joseph is the father of Jesus, especially in the episode when Jesus was lost in the temple. We know when Jesus was born in the difficult times, he was the protector of Jesus and Mary. He had guided them and looked after them in Bethlehem, took them safely to Egypt and then back again to Nazareth. It is Joseph who must have and definitely taught Jesus how to pray and took him to the synagogue. It is Joseph who taught Jesus a skill, carpentry, and carried on all his fatherly duties. Therefore, definitely, many of the qualities that Jesus had, he learned from his own father Joseph and obviously from his mother Mary. This is what Pope John Paul II has to say. The growth of Jesus in wisdom and in stature and in the favor with God and man took place within the Holy Family under the eyes of Joseph, who had the important task of raising Jesus, that is, feeding, clothing, and educating him in the law and in the trade, in keeping with the duties of a father. So that is what Saint Joseph is known to be in the Gospels. And because he took so much care of Jesus, we who love Jesus now turn to Saint Joseph. If Saint Joseph looked after Jesus, we can turn to him for that same kind of care. And therefore, very often we find that Saint Joseph is a patron. Now, what does it mean by patron? Patron comes from the word pater, which means father. Let us take a look at how he is a patron. First of all, patron of the Catholic Church by Blessed Pius IX. And this is what St. John Paul II says. Inspired by the Gospel, the Father of the Church from the earliest centuries stressed that just as St. Joseph took loving care of Mary and gladly dedicated himself to Jesus Christ's upbringing, he likewise watches and protects Christ's mystical body, that is the Church. He is also seen as patron of workers. That's what Venerable Pius XII proposed him as. St. John Paul II proposed him as guardian of the Redeemer. And we of course invoke him as a patron of a happy death. So at different moments of our life, whether it is work, whether it is in home, whether it is the time of our death, at key moments, we turn to Saint Joseph. Now, do we have a symbol for this kind of fatherly care of Saint Joseph? Yes, the Holy Cloak of Jesus. There is a tradition that a relic of the Holy Cloak of Saint Joseph is kept in the church in Rome. Now, we don't have any real proof that it is really the cloak of Jesus, and quite likely may not be. But that doesn't matter at all, because we know that there did exist this cloak of Saint Joseph 2000 years back. And it is under this Holy Cloak that Jesus found his own protection. And so we can turn to this Holy Cloak for protection. When we're saying turning to the Holy Cloak, we're not turning to a piece of cloth, but a protection of Saint Joseph himself. The Carmelites have this tradition of turning to the Holy Cloak, that means to Saint Joseph, for his support and his protection. And therefore the Holy Cloak is depicted in many of their artworks. The Society of Jesus turns to Saint Joseph as the patron of the Society of Jesus. And now let us hear what the popes have to say to us. It is natural and worthy that as the blessed Joseph ministered to all the needs of the family of Nazareth and girded with his protection, he should now cover with the cloak of his heavenly patronage and defend the Church of Jesus Christ. St. Francis de Sales, glorious Saint Joseph, spouse of the Virgin Mary, we beseech you through the heart of Jesus Christ, grant to us your fatherly protection. And so we now invoke Saint Joseph to take care of us. We turn to him as the saints have done down the ages. As we turn to Mother Mary, we now turn to her spouse for this protection and care and a sure source of support to grow in the spiritual life. And I suggest to you the simple prayer that is not something new, but that has been proposed many years back. And what is that prayer? Saint Joseph, place me under your holy cloak. I repeat, Saint Joseph, place me under your holy cloak. Remember, when we are saying Saint Joseph, place me under your holy cloak, what we are saying in practice is, Saint Joseph, I turn to you for your fatherly care. Protect me.